of the Meek, where we watch made-for-TV movies and miniseries so you don't have to. From Gia to Xenon, Hysteria to Sybil, welcome to Movies of the Meek.
What did we watch this week, Max?
This week we watched the ABC 1981 television movie Midnight Offerings, which starred actress from Little House on the Prairie as just a witch, Vivian, who's trying to get her relationship with her boyfriend Dave to work out. And she's just kind of doing everything she can to make sure that there's smooth sailing for the two of them.
Harmless magic, really, throughout the whole movie.
And this new girl, Robin, moves in, and she's a real fucking bitch and tries to steal Vivian's boyfriend. Right?
That's one way to look at it.
I legit, like, I don't know. I love any time that there's a character that's just, like, a total bitch the entire time. And that's all that Vivian was, and I loved this movie.
Total bitch the whole time. Even when you think she's being sweet, she's just manipulating.
She is the worst the entire film. And I loved it so much.
She's great. I really like the actress who played Vivian. She was dope.
Yeah, she was
not so much. I don't have the same feelings about Robin.
Oh, thank you.
Robin
hated that actress.
So yeah, like the movie started, and I was like, this is some pretty good acting. And then Robin shows up and starts talking to Dave, and immediately it just becomes stilted and awkward. And it was kind of terrible.
Yeah.
And it's terrible throughout. But whatever. Vivian's dope.
So the movie starts off with a good old satanic ritual.
Yeah. Extended satanic ritual.
Which was great.
Yeah, it was cool.
Like, just 10 out of 10. You know, it's her calling to her goddess that she prays to, Hecate, because she is a Hecatite. We'll get into that more later. And she's doing some voodoo stuff, and she sets one of the teachers on fire.
It was a little more than setting him on fire. It was more of a spontaneous combustion situation.
Like in his car, she sets him on fire while he's driving. And so she sets him on fire in his car. And it's also that her boyfriend doesn't flunk out of class.
Yeah. She killed a man.
Meanwhile, he doesn't really enjoy the relationship anymore, and he's like, so I think you're a manipulative bitch, and I don't want to be in this relationship. And she's like, well, why have I been killing all these people then, baby? I love you. You're good for me.
Yeah, we find out quickly that she's killed many people.
Yeah, she's killed a lot of people.
A few teachers at the school, and then later on we find out that she killed her dad's foreman. Or not, actually she didn't kill him, she just caused a heart attack.
Yeah,
that's like one of her things. She's like really good at heart attacks.
She makes him have a heart attack, and the dad's response is like, when the wife is like, he had a heart attack, he's so young, and he's like, to have a heart attack, all you need is a heart.
True.
I was like, this guy killing it in the observation department. So, you know, she kills the teacher, and then she goes into school like it's nothing. And that's when you have the first introduction of Robin, which is also the first introduction to this movie kind of being really good and kind of being a piece of garbage, because the introduction of Robin has easily like 7 cuts in it.
Oh my god.
Like, super aggressive, super crazy, like, jarring cuts.
You talking about the scene between her and Dave?
No, oh no, legit. Just
'Cause that was bad,
like
too.
Robin is talking to like a teacher or something, and Vivian is talking to her friend, which you only see in that beginning so that she can talk to someone about this girl. Like Vivian doesn't really seem to have friends. But Vivian's just talking to some girl, and she's like, "Who is that?" And her quote unquote friend is like, "Oh, that's Robin." And there's like 7 super aggressive cuts going back and forth. 3 cuts in a row happen, which basically are just like different distances of the same shot of Robin.
Yeah, it's kind of bizarre, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really weird.
There's some really cool shots in this movie too, and then mixed in are like really bizarre choices, like you're talking about.
Yeah. The weirdest one to me is the one where Dave goes to Robin's house when he's worried about her, and it has a shot of him like it's super low to the ground, and the camera like follows him, and it's like sped up shaky cam looking shit. And it's like it's to make it, I don't know, seem intense or something, but it's like so jarring and weird in comparison to, I don't know, the entire fucking movie.
Yeah, there's a couple strange. When they're on the football field, that whole scene, there's 2 really well. There's one strange one where Vivian touches Robin, and it like cuts to Vivian's eyes, and then it cuts to Robin's face, and then there's like an overlay of a skull.
Oh yeah.
I thought that was kind of crazy. And then in the same scene, as Vivian's watching Dave and Robin kind of walk off, it does that crazy like Jaws like zoom, that like weird dolly zoom.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? That's the second time it does it too. I think it does it earlier in the film too.
Yeah, there's a lot of weird kind of. It's one of those things where it's like, instead of like really letting the actor drive the you being interested in the scene, they're like, let's have the camera be more dynamic. and so when Vivian's in
so
class and Dave is there, and Dave is like, holy shit, that bitch killed another teacher, and like I guess the principal or something is announcing that this teacher has died. There's this really, once again, it's a really weird dolly zoom that's just slowly going up on him, and it's like, this is super unnecessary. This could have just been a steady shot. It doesn't add anything to the scene. It doesn't add drama or weight. It just feels weird. And then he, goes, your teacher's dead. So class dismissed, guys. Go do whatever for a while. And all the kids are like, okay, whatever. You should have had a substitute planned already. Whatever, we're gone. But yeah, just a super weird shot. And then that's also, that teacher talks to Vivian, and he's like, by the way, he wanted to come to my house because we're best buds and we like to go fishing and stuff, and he was going to come to my house to talk to me about you. And she's like, well, I was concerned about when we were going to, falsely impregnate mice, is what she said, and then cut them open. Wouldn't that be impregnate mice?
I had no idea what she was talking about.
What the hell is falsely impregnating mice? Wouldn't you just impregnate mice?
I guess.
Or were they, like, what does that mean?
That was a really bizarre excuse for him wanting to talk about Vivian.
I just want to understand that science class. What's a false impregnating a mouse?
These are the questions, Max.
Does that mean that you're just like injecting the belly with something or something? Like injecting something into the uterus?
I mean, I don't know. This is completely out of my realm, but maybe it's like they're impregnating a mouse, but then terminating it just to see the effects of like when a mouse goes through pregnancy or something.
Yeah, but that's
have
just
no idea.
impregnating a mouse. That's not falsely impregnating a mouse.
Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea.
Anyway.
Anyway, you really got hung up on this. This one particular scene.
that
You have pages of notes just on this.
that part confused the shit out of me. Like when it got to that, I was like, what? What the fuck are you talking about? Yes.
So about that mouse.
Then we have cheerleading practice.
Yeah. Love that.
Which once again we get to see Vivian's powers at full strength because she's talking to Robin. You know, Robin is talking to Dave, and Dave is just trying to get the fuck away from Vivian because he's now terrified of Vivian.
What was up with Franco? So if this dude Franco shows up in a convertible and he's like, I just took my parents' dining room table or something. So I had no idea what that was for, and then at the end of the movie, I think the wood was used for the steak.
Yeah.
But like, what? Like, did Vivian make him bring the dining room table? It was just very weird. I was like, "Who is this guy?" He's like, "I have some wood." I'm like, in a convertible, and then he just drives off. I don't know, but we never see him again.
Yeah. That literally nothing happens with that.
Yeah. They like introduce this character and they make a big deal about how he's a cool dude and his name's Franco, and we never see him again.
It's a cool name.
But it is a cool name. I love that name. But we see Vivian use her magic again.
Yeah.
She breaks that poor girl's knee.
Yeah.
Like a bitch. I guess because she finds out Robin is also a cheerleader, and she opens up a spot immediately.
in front of Robin, who's also a witch.
Yeah, but Robin doesn't really understand what she is yet. But
True.
But Robin's just kind of like freaked out. She's just like, no, I don't want to be on the team. This is kind of weird. Like she just ate it.
Yeah.
Like it's too soon.
And Vivian's like, "Don't you see I just did that for you, you bitch?" So,
But yeah, Dave and Robin
yeah.
head out.
Yeah.
Originally they were going to go for a tour of the school, but then that turns into them just going to the ocean,
Yeah.
where they I don't know, I feel like their romance blossoms pretty quickly. Like
They had sex, right?
they had just met at school, and then they go to the beach, and then they're like holding hands.
Yeah.
Immediately.
Yeah.
Even Robin's dad's like, it's a little too soon for that, you know?
Yeah.
And then like Dave had also had an accident a couple of months prior. Did he like drive drunk or something through a storefront?
Yeah.
And I was like, Vivian did it, but we come to find out he was just drunk because he was freaked out about Vivian.
Yeah.
And did it. He seems better.
So when they're at the beach, Vivian shows up in crow form, and is spying on them. Of course, she has that power.
She's like Bran.
She prays to her god Hecate, and it gives her the power to spy, in crow form. And then, Dave is like, "Hey, Robin, let me drive you back to your home." And there is an entire conversation done, all in exterior shots of his van, and it's all ADR'd. Like, I have not seen a movie that has done that in a while. Where it's just legit shot of the van driving down the beach, shot of the van driving through the city, shot of the van driving to the house. The entire time it's an ADR conversation, and you just can't see them because obviously they didn't have the shots to make that happen. Just fucking great stuff.
Everything they say from the time they get on the beach to when Dave takes her home is amazing. Just all this shit. it's easier if you don't have a past. Like all that dumb shit.
It's also like this movie just further reinstills the fucking like teenagers just sighing deeply. Just like there's so much of Robin just going I know, I just fucking could not
Loved it.
could not do it. And you know, yeah, so she goes back, she's talking to her dad. The dad's pissed that she's with a guy already. He's like, God damn it, Robin, day goddamn one. Day one. Come on. And then you cut to good old Vivian's family, and Vivian's upstairs in her room conjuring demons and shit, and she has a bunch of candles burning, and the dad is like, what kind of homework do they give her in that chemistry class?
How have they not seen her fucking shrine to her demon lord? Like she has a whole walk-in closet.
It's an entire fucking wall, and there's a human skull on it.
Yeah. Not only that, but she has a bunch of weird shit everywhere. Weird, like, fucking, like, toad feet and all this weird shit in her drawers. And I mean, I couldn't really tell because I was watching this in 380p, so it was just a kind of a blur.
So you're watching the
As a
HD
whole.
version.
Yeah, I clicked it. I got super excited because it said HD, and then it maxed out at 380p. I was like, I guess this is better than like 240. Can kind of see people's faces. Oh,
The actor that plays Robin's dad, he kills it.
Yeah, I love him. I love him so much.
Like when he has his one like tirade that he goes on, it's fucking amazing. He is so intense.
Yeah,
And he is like running around the house like a fucking madman, only to come to the conclusion that like, no, like you're right, we shouldn't have to move. Because like his eyes are like fucking enraged, and he's just like running around and he's like, everything's going crazy, and he's like shaking and shit, and he's like running back and forth, and then he's like I trust you, I believe in you, I trust you, everything will be fine, you're right, everything will be fine.
This is a man at his wit's end, Max. I mean, his wife died during childbirth. His only daughter has been been moving things with her mind for the past 20 years, and he just completely left everything to move to this new town.
Is that his only daughter?
Oh no, no.
Because I thought they
they're
were
7. Yeah,
they're
that's-
both seventh daughters.
Yeah, that's right. But they don't talk about any of the other daughters in Robin's family.
Yeah, they talk about them
just-
all on Vivian's side because they're all losers.
Extensively. Yeah, they go through each one at one point. Yeah, you're right. They don't go through any of Robin's siblings. It's
Yeah.
weird. But they make it a point that it's every 7th daughter, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is crazy.
Why is that crazy?
Because you have to have 7 daughters in order for you to get one that's a witch. That's so many.
That is a lot of daughters.
Like, Jesus fucking Christ. Like, it's amazing that, like, there are any witches in the 80s, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
we didn't have, like, imagine a family with 7 daughters at this point. It doesn't seem like it would happen.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think I know a family with that many siblings.
Let alone specifically daughters.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Like,
So we find that out, okay. A question, how does Robin end up meeting that lady that helps her?
through Dave, and I don't understand how Dave found out about her.
Yeah, right?
Dave, like, he said something like he heard about a missing person in the paper, and they turned up, and then he contacted them, and this person knows about witches.
And like he has that book that has like so much information on exactly
Very
what
specific,
Vivian is.
like family information, like symbols with their last name.
Check out this book I found with Vivian's entire backstory.
Yeah. Oh, it's fucking dope.
when he's with Robin, like going through the book in the van, I was like, oh wait, what?
You see it a few times that he whips it out and he finally opens it. He's like, see, her last name's on this fucking pentagram. See, she's a witch. Yeah, I guess she is, dude. I love the thought of just Dave like going crazy. He's the only one that knows Vivian's a witch. He's just researching. It's so good though.
But just continuing through, so Robin is getting assistance from this old lady witch, who basically is like, you're the seventh daughter of the seventh daughter, and you have superpowers, and so she tries to like shove this fish tank into Robin's face. And Robin stops it with her mind. Basically she's just like, you must train your powers. And then, she finds out that Vivian is a Hectite. And she's like, I've never fought one of those before. They're crazy. Be careful. They talk about lunar cycles and how your different lunar cycles give you more strength, which, that's a thing, so that's good. So they included that, and that's all nice. So there's basically another sequence at the school for some reason. They go back to the school and Dave has a confrontation with Vivian. There's just some great shots in that, especially when like Dave, confronts Vivian and then Robin confronts Vivian and they run away like scared little bitches. And there's the sequence where it's Vivian standing in the middle of the hallway and the doors close on her. That was just a great shot.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And then the main things that are leading to confrontation are Vivian is gaining more and more power. She now knows that there's another witch that she has to deal with, and then she's basically like, you find out that Robin's dad knows that Robin is a witch, and that Vivian's mom knows that Vivian is a witch because she was a witch, but she doesn't use her powers anymore. And so just to prove that she's wicked hardcore and that she's super strong, she forces her mom to break a glass in her own hand. And that is after, which I consider this to be the meanest part, just because like she was helping out her dad and doing cool stuff just like she was doing for Dave, but then she's like you could have had an amazing life instead of marrying that fucking simple Simon over there. And I was like, aw, she doesn't even like the dad.
Yeah, that was a turning point for me too. I was like, she is a complete bitch.
I was like, yeah, what a fucking a-hole.
And by helping her dad, you mean
hurting
causing his balls to, causing a heart attack.
Yeah. And so it's basically like, she's confronting the mom about how she had this gift and she just threw it away and how she's not going to be stupid. She's going to use it, as much as she feels like. The mom's like, this isn't a gift. This is a curse. And then that's basically, they've initiated the idea that there's going to be a witch battle, which I was excited to see what that would look like.
And it was awesome.
It was pretty good.
Well, there's you're talking about the scene in the like with all the power tools and stuff. Yeah, it was I don't know, I mean, the practical effects in this movie were interesting. Some of it was kind of cool. I don't know, when shit was flying across the room, when the hammers and stuff were flying across the room, but then there was that one shot where it was just the nail gun. It was a shot of the nail gun shooting, and then another shot of nails hitting a board.
How about the training sequence with Dave?
Oh
where
God.
they're at the park.
Oh,
And he's like, use your mind to make the boat move. And then she's like, I'll try. And then he pulls a
Don't
Yoda
try.
and says, don't just try, do it.
yeah. I was gonna say I got Star Wars vibes throughout this whole movie.
Yo, right?
like, like the boat.
How weird is that?
It's fucking bizarre. I mean, when did Star Wars come out? 79?
79, 78, and then the Empire came out in 80.
So, and this came out in what, 81?
Yeah.
This movie was definitely heavily influenced by Star Wars. Heavily influenced by Jaws.
Carrie as well, of course.
Carrie, like they took kind of the vibe of like Carrie, threw in some like shots from Jaws,
Yeah.
and like had some of the story from Star Wars. It was so weird. But yeah, that scene you're talking about was fucking ridiculous. Dude. The part in the barn, it was like fucking.
Oh my God.
It was like Mary Poppins or something. It was insane.
My favorite is that he like she opens the doors to the barn with her mind, and then he does like a "Milady." And it's like y'all gonna fuck in that barn because they've had sex at that point, right? Because there was the night where
There's-
like her
She stayed over his house.
yeah, she stayed over at his house, and he was like, my parents aren't home, and then he legit like gets on top of her, and then there's a fade out.
Yeah, they definitely bone a couple times.
Yeah, and so why are they so awkward still at that point?
Because they have no chemistry.
Truth. just because like legit the fucking you know, she's looking through the spell book to find out what powers she has, and she gets to the part where she's like, oh, I can levitate too, and he looks at her and he's like, oh no you don't, and she's like, I'm gonna do it, and he's like, oh no you don't, and he runs away, and she's running after him as if like levitation is her gonna tickle him. It's just like, what the fuck is happening here?
I don't know.
Why are you acting this way? You guys have had sex.
It was definitely trying to build up the relationship a little more, but it didn't work.
I was shocked that this movie didn't have the cliche when you've used your psychic powers a whole bunch, your nose bleeds. So that was kind of nice. Just
I would
because
love that.
I'm real used to that.
Like it hurts them to use their powers.
Yeah. Now, before they fuck in the barn, Dave is once again on top of Robin, and he uses the line that Vivian used with him earlier in the film, and he goes, "You're good for me, you know that?" And then they raw dog.
Yeah.
And, you know, that was just a nice little callback to earlier in the film. But yeah, and so then, then after that, there's that sick fight in the shop room, which we already talked about, which is just fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
And then they decide that basically they have to go to Vivian's bedroom and get to the bottom of all of her shit. And they find the Book of Shadows, and it's after that fucking Dave sees the pentagram, and he goes, 2 points angled upwards. Those are the horns of Satan. And then it glows bright red, and it's fucking on fire. 10
Yeah.
10 out of 10.
And then he gets attacked by Vivian in cat form.
Oh my god. Yeah, Vivian in cat form.
When is it right after this that Vivian turns into a crow and attacks them in the van? Because that was probably my favorite scene in the whole movie. Or was that earlier? I think it was.
That was earlier.
Yeah, like how bad that scene was. Oh my god.
Disagree.
It lasted forever too, man.
Yeah, it was
like
that
the
was a
crow
long
shows
sequence.
up, and then I just love how after they finally get Vivian out of the van, she just like on the side of the road screaming.
Yeah. This, I want to know how you felt about this. This movie got long in the third part,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. I would say so. Yeah, I was kind of waiting. I was like, what the fuck is happening in this movie?
Which is weird in terms of movie structure.
Yeah,
'Cause
I feel like the first two parts of this movie there was a good pace of Vivian kind of going after them. You know,
Yeah.
they were on the run from Vivian, and at a certain point it just kind of stops and they have a little breathing room. I think that's what slows it down. And it's for no reason because she obviously is powerful enough to kill them at any time. And I understand that they established that Robin's powers protect her from Vivian's powers to a certain extent.
Yeah.
But I feel like, just want to throw it out there, if Vivian decided to explode Dave while Robin was in the car, I feel like they would both explode. I mean, I understand why she didn't explode Dave. She's in love with Dave. We understand that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's just, I felt like they established she was a very powerful witch, and then the rest of the movie she was like turning into crows and cats and attacking them. Like, the first 30 seconds of the movie, she explodes a man.
Yeah.
But it's all good. But you're right though, it does slow down.
Yeah, which once again, it's your final third of the movie. It's just so clear and obvious what needs to happen. You know, everything's been building up to this, and there's this logical progression, and it's weird that like the training sequence, which is happening in the middle of the movie, feels so smooth and natural, as well as being hilarious. But it also like it's
So smooth, Max.
it's very smooth and natural, and everything like has a good pace. And then that last third of the movie is just like, what are you doing? Like, you just know you have to do the one thing. Like, you don't need to go to her house and like find her fucking rocks and shit. Like,
Well,
you don't need to go look
they-
at her candles. Like, you know what the deal is. You just have to confront it. And I know there's that concept that it's like, oh, the moon's gonna be out on the one night, and so she'll be super strong.
She's already super strong, and that's what
Exactly.
so, but they don't know that, and I think that's where it dropped off. Was they kind of had them almost as equals. Obviously, one was more experienced, like, you know, one was Kylo Ren, and then one was Rey. But they were leading up to this battle where Robin still had a shot, which was in the shop, right? Like, they were kind of going head to head in that scene.
Yeah.
After that, their mentor lady, I forget her name. She uses the hair that they stole from Vivian's room, and she determines that Vivian is like way more powerful than she even imagined.
Yeah.
And she's just
She
like,
tells them
she's
to
like,
move.
Robin. Yeah, Robin. She's like, if you have about 500 miles, you should be good.
Yeah.
They're like, what are you talking about? We just spent the whole movie training.
And she's like, my father's getting out of the hospital, and I have to stay with him. And she's like, yeah, but like, you should leave.
Yeah. Which I think that slows it down, because then you're just like, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah.
Like, she has no chance against Vivian. And so they decide to wait it out, essentially. They go to Dave's house, and they're just like, well, let's just wait it out. Let's just wait the full moon out. And Robin decides to confront Vivian at the school because
Reasons?
Vivian threatens her father again.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, of course, she goes to the school, and really fun stuff happens. Vivian just destroys her. Like, Vivian's so powerful at this point.
So the school has adopted a goat as a mascot, which is of course tight because Vivian is demonic sorceress, and so she of course loves goats because goats represent Satan. And so I loved that little callback that the fucking goat headbutted Robin down the stairs.
Yeah, that was amazing. And of course, Robin's little charms that they made do nothing.
Yeah.
Which they already established were gonna do nothing.
Yeah. Yeah, fucking Vivian is just like,
it was so
nice
pointless.
amulet, and then Robin is like pointing it at her, like thinking it's gonna do something, and then Vivian just fucking burns it with her mind.
I feel like most movies would use that as a twist. We made these items to help you defeat the evil, and then you find out it's actually useless against it because the person's too powerful. But in this movie, they straight up they go through all this trouble making these little trinkets, and she straight up says like, yeah, they're not gonna work.
Yeah.
Like, don't even bring them. And they don't, like, they just catch on fire.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's not even a battle really. Vivian destroys her.
Yeah, she fucking knocks Robin out, and then Robin wakes up, and she's fucking tied to a stake that she's gonna get burned on in the middle of the fucking football field.
Couple fucking dining room tables. Which
thank you, Franco.
But Franco didn't bring that much wood. He only brought one table.
Didn't he though?
It was a massive structure.
Maybe he's a witch and he's been growing the table.
So Robin's tied up.
Yeah.
And Vivian's talking shit. And she's like, you're actually getting off easy because they used to torture witches and all this shit.
Yeah.
And then as this is happening,
a nice slow hanging.
Yeah, nice. She's being a real fucking jerk about it. And she lights the stake on fire, and then at the same time, I think it has Dave kind of waking up, because he's sleeping back at the house still.
Yep.
And Dave wakes up, slowly realizes Robin's gone, and he goes outside. And do you remember this scene? He screams like, "Oh, Robin, no!" It was like the worst thing I've ever seen. And then he heads to the school. And then Vivian's mom shows up.
Yeah.
And joins forces with Robin's magic.
Yeah.
And they paralyze Vivian. Does something else happen? I just remember they join forces, and then Robin's mom just kind of pushes Vivian into the fire.
Yeah, she just jumps on top of Vivian, and they both go into the pit.
Yeah, she's like, "You're a mistake," and then kills both of them.
My favorite thing that happens involving like the psychokinesis is that like Vivian is fucking throwing stakes that are on fire at Robin. They're just like whizzing fucking by her, and it's like legit like terrifying because like Vivian's mom basically like releases Robin and is like helping out, and then she like is confronting her daughter, and Vivian cuts her, like her arms get cut.
Oh yeah, that was a little brutal.
And so she's blocking her face so that the face doesn't get cut, and then she's like, "Robin, your magic with my magic, Robin, the two of us combined our powers," that stops her, I guess, for enough time for her to just jump into the fire, and then I guess she just holds Vivian down and they both burn together.
Yeah.
And then Dave shows up, and he's like, "Hey, baby, everything's going to be fine now." And Robin's like, "Everything's not going to be fine. Everything is terrible." And he's just like, you just got to think about tomorrow.
And he's also, "We got to leave because 2 people just died."
Yeah.
He's like, "We really got to leave."
And she's just like, she's like, "It isn't over for me, Dave." And then end of movie. That's
Yeah,
it.
perfect, really perfect cliffhanger, if you ask me.
But it was like such a weird choice to just like end with the fire.
Yeah.
And to have the credits roll over the fire, because it's just like this is not that happy of a resolution.
Also, there was a commercial break before the credits. It cuts, and then clearly a commercial break, and then it just returns with the fire and credits.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's Midnight Offerings.
Loved
It's
it.
a good movie. Part Star Wars, part Carrie.
I came up. There's no IMDb trivia, but I have some anyway. I came up with some. I'll add it.
Hell yeah.
The most obvious one is that Melissa Sue Anderson, who played Vivian in the movie, played Mary in Little House on the Prairie. The location, Ocean Valley High School, was shot at Miracosta High School, which is located in Manhattan Beach, California.
Is that why the fucking the school the sign in the movie looks so shitty?
Yeah.
They just they made a poster and put it over the actual school sign.
Yes, that is why
Okay.
it looks that terrible.
Okay, awesome.
Walter Schraff, who composed music for the film, also composed music for the movie Ben, which was the sequel to Willard, if you've seen that masterful film, as well as Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Huh.
I was like absolutely shocked that he did the score. I mean, the score for this movie was great.
Yeah, it was cool.
Like I legit like there's one main theme that he uses throughout, but it's a good theme, and every time he
Especially,
came back it was great.
Especially like the track that played when they were sneaking into Vivian's room. It was just like a bass or
Yeah.
something. It was like very minimal, but it was effective.
Yeah.
Cool.
Now for some goofs. They're both kind of the same thing, which is what I enjoy. Revealing mistakes. When Vivian's mom shatters the glass in her hand, she rinses off the cut. The blood stops instantly.
Well, she is a witch.
Now, this confuses me because I don't remember this. The premise of the film is that one witch cannot directly use her powers on another witch. The attack will be deflected. But Vivian uses her powers to make her own mother, also a witch, break a glass in her fist.
Is that the premise of the movie?
I did not think that at all.
They established that Vivian is unable to hurt Robin or like really hurt her because she's also a witch. They don't say that she can't use her powers against Robin. It's just that it's harder to. It deflects. So Vivian used her good old heart attack spell on Robin, but it deflected and hit her father.
Yeah.
So it's just deflecting off her. It's not necessarily that it doesn't work. And the reason I thought that she was able to hurt her mom or use magic against her mother was because her mom has not practiced for years.
Yeah.
And I just assumed was much weaker than even Robin was.
Yeah, I thought that it was just because of power.
Yeah, and Vivian was just showing she is very powerful.
Yeah.
But there's no rule saying witches can't use powers against each other.
Yeah.
Unless there was a scene that Dave unloaded that fucking
When he's going through his
truth.
book.
Yeah, because I love how Dave is like the fucking the man of knowledge in this movie. He rented a textbook from the library. He knows everything about witches.
This dude that's talking about the fucking surfing on waves. They're mad Vago or whatever the fuck they said.
Vago.
Did
they say that?
Do you remember? There's like some word for like how sick the waves were, and I was just
So
like,
Vago.
I was
dude.
like, what word is this?
Fuck, dude. I feel like after starting this podcast with you, I've learned so many surfing terms. Like more than I ever thought I would learn in my life. Like, dude, that's so fucking nectar, dude. Shit was so Vago.
It's mad nectar.
If Dave said nectar in this movie, I would have lost it.
Oh my god, that would have been so good.
Ugh, Jesus.
So, what film would you like to do next week?
So, I picked the James Franco Lifetime movie High School Lover. It looks pretty good, Matt.